everybody. If you haven't heard the news yet, numbers came out. Home prices are up again. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. I'm going to be diving into this article. But before we start the stream, I wanted to start off with some really happy news. So I have my handy dandy pocket knife here, and I was sent for the first time ever. I never get PR stuff. No one ever sends me PR stuff for Real Estate Channel. But one of the subscribers has a company called Prazo, P-R-A-N-Z-O bags, Pronzo bags, right? And they were kind enough to send me one of their bags. I get absolutely no affiliate, nothing for this. She just sent me this bag, and it's actually really cool because it's like a purse that you can put cold stuff in there, and it's made from this radiant barrier that you put in the attics and stuff. Man, the packaging on this is something. They packaged it twice. So I didn't want to show my address, of course, on here, but I wanted to. This is my first unboxing, and I want you guys to experience it with me. So, la 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 la. All right, it comes in lots of bubble wrap. My kids will have fun with that. You get a little thing right here. This comes in it. All right, and the bag is all wrapped up. Oh, look at it. Oh, see, it's I know the dudes aren't going to care, but listen, if you've got a lady in your life that, like me, that when you go out, I hate shopping bags, but I love getting stuff out that keep it cold. Look, it's got the little thing, and look, it's a cooler. It's a purse. It's a purse that's a cooler. Look. Isn't that wild? Wow. Yeah. Pronzo bags. You can go to their website. Eddie's going to pull it up on the screen here. Pronzo bags. The stylish Pronzo bag. Keep your contents cold for 72 hours. Oh my God. I'm not joking when I tell you this. It's actually cold in the bag. This has been in my office since Tuesday. And it comes with a strap and everything. And this hasn't even been frozen, and it's already cold in here. That's wild. Oh, that is wild. I don't know what this is. I'll have to look at that later. And then it has little, it has a little thing in here you can freeze to keep it even colder. But I'm not joking. This is actually cool in here right now. Oh, and it comes with a cup. You can get it comes with a mug. Well, thank you so much, Pronzo Bags, for sending me some swag. I never get swag. This is very exciting. This is very exciting. I never get promo stuff, and like I said, I don't get nothing for mentioning the bag at all. I just wanted to share that with you because it's one of our subscribers here, and she runs this little business, and this will help her out, and I'm stoked. Thank you so much. Yay! All right, now let's get into the meat of things. Wow, what a great gift. What a great gift. Yes, very cool. It's cool inside, that's for sure. My camera settings got messed up, so I don't know if I'm clear or fuzzy or what. This thing is I don't know. Anyways, Eddie, if you could pull up the screen of the article. See this thing? Man. Da-da-da. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. All right, Eddie, if you could pull up the first article about the home prices today, because they're up again. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable. U.S. home prices hit an all-time high in April. And I just want to preface this. This is on a national level. In some markets, you're not feeling this at all. It says the median home price rose 6% year over year to $434 as a lack of new listings bode prices. The total number of homes for sale for the 4-year high, but it's partly because of some houses are sitting stale on the market after being priced too high. 18% of homes for sale in April had a price cut of 12% in April of 2023. San Jose and Rochester are the hotter parts of the market. Roughly 3/4 of homes that are sold in these metros last month fetched more than asking price, as higher share than anywhere else in the US. Okay, so that's what I was saying like a couple weeks ago. We have a tale of two housing markets. If you happen to live in some pockets of like Florida, if you happen to live some pockets of around Austin, Texas, you live in some areas of Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to see home prices coming down in your area, right? But in other areas, other metros, like if you go around New Jersey and like San Jose, you're seeing home prices go up. In other markets, you're seeing it go flat. That's why it's so important, of course, to see what's going on nationally, but also see what's really happening in your specific market, because it's going to be completely different than a lot of cases than what the national news is showing you. Okay, so the median sales price hit an all-time high of $334,000. That's nearly, this is the part that blows my mind. I was thinking about this morning. That's nearly $500,000 for the median price home. $500,000. That blew my mind. Nearly like when I sold my first house, I had like my real estate agent at the time said, I go, why is it taking so long to sell? And this was in the 250 range. And she goes, how many people do you know have $250,000 sitting in their pockets? And when she put it to me that way, this was back in 2006, I was like, oh, I guess I never looked at it that way. And then here we are, fast forward, the median price of a home today is almost $500,000. So anyways, today's housing market is much slower than it was during the pandemic. Home buyers boom, but prices continue to climb because there still isn't enough homes around. New listings increased 1.7%. So we are getting some more listings coming on the market on seasonally adjusted basis, and rose 10.8% year over year. Still, we are roughly 20% below pre-pandemic levels. In large part, many homeowners do not want to sell, and they feel locked in by their low mortgage rate. They have scored during the pandemic. It's worth noting that last April, new listings were at their lowest levels on record, aside from the start of the pandemic, which is one reason that there's now posting such a large year-over-year gain. It will be interesting to see if this year-over-year gain goes down as more houses, because I've talked to several real estate agents in Florida. They're seeing a lot more listings come on the market. I wonder if it will come down next month. Give me your opinion in the comments. So this shows you the graph of all the listings that have come on the market since 2012 at the beginning there, all the way into April of this year. And you can see that large dip in 2020 in the almost like dead center, right? And then you can go over to the right, and this is where we were in April, and now it's back up. We are getting listings on the market. We are getting more listings, thank goodness. But I know, you know what? Before we dip into this next part of the paragraph, I want to ask you guys this. So I saw recently, I've seen a trend with people that are selling their homes, smaller homes, that the home sellers are actually refusing to sell to any investors, LLCs, or corporations. So you can put your market and you can sell your house to whoever you want. But the offers started coming in, and sure enough, they got right away 3 or 4 investment offers, and they were above asking price, and they stuck to their guns and they said, no, we are not selling to any kind of LLCs. I don't care. We're waiting for somebody someone that's actually going to move into this house. Sure enough, it took a little bit more time for them to sell their house. They found a young couple to buy their home, and they did purchase it. Now, they even said we would have made $25,000 more if we sold it to an investor, but our conscience couldn't do it. And the question that was out there is like, could you do it? Would you turn down $30,000 to sell to an individual instead of selling to a corporation? I don't know many people that can afford to do that. It was just interesting to see the perspective. I would love to hear your perspective on that. But while I'm waiting for those answers to come in, let's get into this. It says home sales were a little change from month to month earlier, 0.2% in April on the seasonally adjusted basis, but were down 1.4% from year earlier. Home buyers are getting hit by a 1-2 punch of high prices and elevated mortgage rates. The average 30-year fixed rate mortgage was 6.99 in April, but that's up from 6.82 in March and 6.34 in April, and is more than doubled that all-time low of 2.65 during the pandemic. It's not all the bad news for home buyers. Mortgage rates are already inching to the lower in response to this week's inflation report, with signaled the Fed to cut rates this summer, a possibility that just weeks ago many thought was off the table. In certain parts of the country, buyers have, I'm dying. Buyers have room to negotiate as homes linger on the market longer, prompting sellers to slash their asking prices and provide concessions, which I've seen in many areas. They have been providing concessions a lot more in the last year, to be honest with you. Housing supply, while historically low, hit a 4-year high in April as homes linger on the market longer. I'm going to tell you why some of these homes are lingering on the market longer, and they mentioned it in the article. Some sellers' brains are still in the mindset that we are in pandemic pricing and buyers are desperate. So they price their homes so incredibly high that they've narrowed the pool of people that are willing to buy their house at that specific price. The sellers that are willing to negotiate or come down on their price are the ones that are more likely to sell faster. So active listings rose to the highest level in December of 2020. In April, they were up 0.3% from month to month earlier and up 7.5% from a year earlier on the seasonally adjusted basis through the remainder of remained far below the pre-pandemic levels. Boy, that was a mouthful. I just need to sell, she says. Oh, Jake said he wouldn't sell to an LLC or anyone for that matter. Oh, well, to anyone. To anyone. He's not going to sell to anybody. It doesn't matter if it's a corporation or not. But Jay, I'm going to ask you this. If you had to sell, you had no choice, you're going to sell. Would you sell it to a corporation? Would you have that moral dilemma in your mind? For a lot of people, they don't. But it's becoming a growing trend that many do. So while new listings represent the number of homes that were listed for sale during the given month, active listings represent the total number of homes that were for sale during a given month. That means that the latter metric includes homes that have been sitting on the market for a while. Nationwide, 43.9% of homes went under contract in April. So within 2 weeks, they were listed, down from 46.9% a year earlier. 18% of home sellers are cutting their prices. I'm telling you, a lot of home sellers are living in la la land, though. Nearly 1 in 5 homes in April had a price cut, meaning that sellers lowered their asking price after putting out their home on the market. That's up 5.6% from 12% a year ago. That's the biggest gain year over year. The home buyers are pushing back. Even investors are pushing back. These sales prices are way too high for most Americans to be able to afford. So says most sellers in Las Vegas are willing to negotiate anywhere from 5 to 10% off the list price. Sellers are offering buyers money for mortgage rate buy downs along with other concessions. Homes that are listed below market value get multiple offers and are snatched up in 2 to 4 days. But homes that are priced $5,000 to $10,000 over market value are sitting on the market for 30 to 60 days longer. So if you're sitting in your listing appointment and you're talking to your real estate agent and you know that a year ago, your neighbor down the street sold their house for $350, but your real estate agent is telling you right now, the way the comps are going, the house, your house should be listed at $340, and you're unwilling to listen to them. And you're like, no, they sold for $350 and I want to put it up for $360. Just know that your house is going to sit on the market. If they're giving you comps and proving to you exactly what your house should be listed at, and you're wanting to go way above their suggestion, know that your house is going to sit on the market longer. Now, there's people that will play what I call play the market, and they wanted to see, test it out just to see if they would get that price. Just know though, it didn't sell in a month's period of time, or get a contract on it in a month's period of time, because you didn't listen to your real estate agent. Las Vegas has likely pandemic boom towns, has seen its housing market cool following the home buying frenzy of 2021 and 2022. Other markets have cooled, but and some are seeing substantial competition between home buyers in San Jose, California. 3 and 4 houses, 75.8% sold in April, were above asking price. That's up from 61% a year earlier. Next came Rochester, New York at 72.8%, and Oakland, California at 69.7%. So they sold above asking price. That's wild. All right, let's look at this chart, Eddie. Let's look at this chart. Da-da-da, da-da-da. All right, median sales price, and this is for the whole entire United States. This isn't for one specific market. Right now is $433,558, almost $340, almost $500,000, almost. Homes sold seasonally adjusted was 425,102. I'm looking at months supply on the market. This is where it's interesting. Month supply in the market, 2.3%. Do you know, like, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do you know what a healthy market is? Like what a balanced buyer and seller market would be? What supply of homes? What would be the monthly supply? Is it 3 months? Is it 5 months? Is it 10 months? What do you think is the balanced market supply of homes that need to be on the market for it to be like considered a healthy, balanced housing market? Do you know the answer to this? I'll give you 10 seconds. Let's see if someone gets it right. Let's see. Oh, the moderator right off the bat. 6 months, 6 months supply. That's right. If we had a 2-year supply, we're looking at numbers like back in the back in the last housing crash. A 2-year supply of homes, that would signify a massive crash in housing prices if we had a 2-year supply. 5 months, close. 6 months, 5, 6 months. That is much more balanced than a 3 month to under 3 months. Like before. During the pandemic, we had like a less than 30-day supply of homes on the market. It was wild. Oh, thank you, Ezra. Smash the thumbs up, everybody! Smash it, smash it. It was my fault today because normally I put out this stream like a couple hours beforehand. And I don't know, have you guys ever played with like Chat GPT? Like you're just like plugging away at the numbers. I was plugging away and I forgot to make this stream available for you guys to see until like 10 minutes beforehand. And I was like, whoopsie. Yeah. Sorry about that. The Memorial Day weekend has put a damper into everything. I'm going to share some personal stuff with you. I've had so much family stuff happen in the last 2 weeks that has literally thrown my life upside down and my husband's life. And as we got into this weekend, my mom had to have surgery at the beginning of the week. My daughter on the same day graduated not only high school, but she also got her 2-year degree from the community college. So on the same day in the morning, my mom had, she had a blocked carotid artery. She had that surgery. Very scared. Everything turned out great, by the way. By that afternoon, my daughter was walking across the stage and she got her high school diploma and she got her her 2-year degree. I'm very proud of her. But all of this made for a very chaotic couple weeks. And if anybody has emailed me in the last couple weeks and I haven't gotten to you, it's not because I've been ignoring you. It's just that like family comes first. And I had to put a lot of that kind of stuff on the back burner. I didn't even put out a video this week because I just wanted to make sure that I could put something out quality. So yeah. Anyways, I'm glad that everything is falling into place, and it seems like there is light on the other side. That's for sure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Sydney did a great job. I'm super proud of her. Super proud of her. If you guys have any, the early middle colleges. Yeah. It's called, we call it the early college option is what they call it here. ECO, early college option. So she went to high school for the first 2 years of high school. And then she went to college the last 2 years of high school. So she was able to do that. Yeah. So if you have any questions about real estate, just go ahead and put them in the chat. I'd love to have a conversation with all of you. I didn't have a guest today. I'm trying to be more selective about my guests. I want to make sure they're on the same team and all want to participate with you guys in the chat. So so glad your mom is okay. Kudos to your daughter. She nailed it. Awesome. I'm so proud of her. I really am. I'm so proud of her. And she's trying to get into the aerospace engineering. Obviously she did not get her intelligence from my side. From me, I think the intelligence skipped a generation because like my parents were really smart and I'm kind of like, why did I get that? But then it like jumped over to my kids and I'm like, okay, well, at least I produce good kids. So anyways, let's get into your questions about real estate. Oh, and another thing that I saw recently too, by the way, I saw that they're building more communities that are centered around manufactured housing. So a couple developments have been started in Texas, Oklahoma, and I forget what the third state was. But basically the front of the subdivision would be manufactured factory-made housing, whether that's manufactured homes, like some people call them trailer homes or mobile homes in the front. Then they would have modular homes after that, and then traditional built homes towards the back of the neighborhood. I want to know what your opinion about that is. Kristina, what do you think about the NACA program? Do you recommend it? I literally know zip about that program. I don't even know if it's even offered here in Louisiana. If it's a federal NACA is a well-positioned, achieved transformation neighborhood stabilization programs and partnerships with cities and towns. NACA is unprecedented performance track record for 30 years or more. 75,000 closed mortgages and foreclosures. So it's a mortgage. That's why I don't know much about it. It's a mortgage. NACA is the go-to organization for affordable home ownership, particularly for people of color. NACA is well established in the minority community, with people telling their relatives, friends, and neighbors, coworkers, and other NACA is the place for affordable housing. This is reflective of more than 15,000 people beginning the NACA process each month, and massive participation between 10,000 to 20,000 people attending our 3 to 5 day Achieve the Dream events. Well, I can't even see why this would be a problem. I'll have to look into it more to know if it's worth it. But if that helps people get into home ownership, and you have to take a 5-day course to understand what you're getting into as far as home ownership, I say go for it. I think it's a fantastic thing. But let me ask around more before I say do it, like before I say it's a good or bad program. On the surface, it looks great. I don't know enough about it to tell you if it's bad. Florida prices are going down. Her insurance tax is too costly. You're exactly right. So all through Florida, and if you get into Louisiana and Texas along the coastline there, we've seen our, like even here outside of Baton Rouge, we have seen our insurance costs double. So when you were paying $2,000 last year and now you're paying $4,000 this year, it's alarming. And for some people, especially, like, you got to think about how many people elderly live in Florida and they have fixed incomes, right? And they know they only have so much they can budget for. And when they see their homeowners insurance, I have a friend that lives out there, theirs was $3,000 and then it was $10,000. That's a big jump for a lot of families. And if they haven't budgeted or thought about that ahead of time, they have no choice but to sell. And then the problem with that on top of it is how many people are going to be able to afford that house at the elevated price, not only the elevated price, but the elevated interest rate, then the high insurance. And insurance never goes down. No one ever says, oh, congratulations, your homeowner's insurance went down. That never happens. It may stay stagnant for a few years, but then it always goes up. So I mean, on top of the fact that of course their property taxes went up because home prices went up, I can see why there is going to be an adjustment in Florida. That does not surprise me in the least bit, especially too in Florida. In a lot of areas, it's mandatory for them to have flood insurance when they didn't need it before. They never had to have it, but in order for them to get insurance coverages, they're requiring them to have it, and that's another $1,000 on top of that. If they're lucky. So very depressing. Very depressing. Now, I mean, there's a lot of people that own their house outright and they're opting to just not even have insurance at all. They're just going to do a wing and a prayer and hope for the best. I hope you guys don't hear those lawnmowers. My neighbors decided at the hottest part of the day to mow their lawn and have their barking dog out there. So V-Man says, questions. News says people have no money, but record number are traveling for Memorial Day. Plus, I see a lot of families buying houses in cash or putting down a large down payment. What's your thoughts? Okay, so I even saw this during the pandemic. I never knew how many people actually were sitting on a pile of cash and were able to buy homes cash. That blew my mind. I didn't even know that was even possible. Very average Joe Americans are, for some reason, have ample amount of cash that can give to other family members to buy a house. A lot of other people are looking at things like their 401k and other investments and saying, look, YOLO, you only live once. I'd rather cash out now, take the hit on the tax part of it, and put that into purchasing a house, or I have some kind of system to pay it back. They're willing to cash it out just to be able to purchase a house. It's almost like how I say we have a tale of two housing markets. That's very reflective of what's happening in housing. We have many Americans that cannot afford to buy houses at the price they are now. Then we have another sector of the United States or through American, basically, that can afford everything. Like the food prices don't bother them, that they have no problem that paying more for energy, and they have enough cash to just buy a house. Another thing too is that a lot of elderly or older generations have a lot of wealth and are willing to pass it down now to family members for them to be able to purchase a house. I've seen that quite often as well. Grandma and grandpa are, in their 80s and they see their young family members getting married or whatever, and they're willing to give them a large down payment or even the whole thing for a home. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that there were so many people that had that much cash. It was very surprising to me once the pandemic started, how many people just were walking in with a check in hand, because that was the first time I had seen it in my career ever, ever. All right. Kate D says, do you anticipate a big change in the housing demand between August versus September, or September versus October house listings for sale? Location is Michigan. So housing markets, except for during the pandemic, always follow pretty much the same line. Once school lets out, like once your area schools let out, you're going to see more listings that enter the market. And then right around Halloween time, Thanksgiving time, there's a lot less listings. What's going to drive the market is if buyers can afford the current list price and the current interest rates in your area. I'm not 100% sure what's going on in Michigan. Here in Louisiana, where we have a more balanced market than we've had in quite a while. But, if you look at New Orleans, their housing market is completely different than it is in Baton Rouge. So always talk to a local real estate agent in your area just for your specific area, because it's all going to change. The headlines mean one thing, but that doesn't mean that's what's actually happening in your market. MH08 says, I watched a video this week of new home building technologies coming out. Thought of you. Oh, I just saw, I saw somebody that actually owns a 3D printed house. And you know how like they've been promising these 3D printed houses, and they said that they were going to be like so much more affordable. This girl had a 3D printed house. It was $450,000. I mean, I guess affordable for who? That's what I want to know. How many people can afford that? And then the other thing is that with 3D printed houses or any kind of technology that comes out that hasn't stood the test of time, you have to be very cautious of, right? And you have to put in all the perspectives that aren't being thought of. It's just like anything, everybody wants the shiny new toy, but do you really want to be the first to test out something like this? 3D printed houses are essentially just a concrete house, no different than a house that you would build in Florida with cinder blocks. It just happens to look really cool because it's shooting out this toothpaste of a cement-like material. That cement-like material has not stood the test of time. We don't know what it is. They don't tell you what it is because it's their secret formula. It's, like patent pending secret formula. Nobody can know about it. But what if you're allergic to those chemicals that are in that secret component, right? They're not going to tell you what it is. What if it has some kind of off-gassing? And they'll say, well, no, it doesn't. And it's not like a corporation would lie to us, but we don't know what it is. And then on top of it, if like aesthetically, they're just like, it's just like tubes of toothpaste. If you were to squeeze cake mix on top of itself, right? It's just lines and lines and lines of this concrete laying on top of itself. Like, what if you have a problem with your electrical? You're going to have to cut into this concrete mixture, right? What is that dust that you're cutting into? Is it going to poison it? Does it have fiberglass? Is it going to cause lung issues in the future, right? That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, it's not going to do anything. But how do you cover that up, right? How do you put that back together where it looks cohesive again? It's not going to. Good portion of people can't even drywall correctly. They can't even put a patch on a drywall. You always know where someone cut in to that drywall, no matter how good they are at fixing it, right? Unless you hire a professional. But how would you fix that where the mixture would be exactly the same, where it would line up perfectly to be replaced and repaired, right? I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the 3D printed home. I think it works in some applications, but I don't think it works in everyday, real life, full of electricity type of housing. And it doesn't look like it's panning out to be the majorly affordable option that they had they had originally said it was going to be. So, Kristina, please be careful this hurricane season. It's going to be very active since you live in Louisiana. I'm lucky enough to live away from, like, I'm not near New Orleans. I'm near enough, a good 45 minutes to an hour, you know, but I'm not like right there by the levees or anything. We get our fair share of damage here. I've had my last house, I've had a tornado hit it. My daughter and I, a couple weeks ago, drove through a tornado. Can I just tell you, that was the most scared I'd have ever been in my entire life. I thought we were going to have to drive right into a ditch. Terrifying. But yeah, we have our fair share of storms here, but they're not nearly as devastating as it is like near the coastline. Our weather is getting weirder, that is for sure. And it definitely, Mother Nature is being awfully aggressive. Can't really blame her though. Says, what do you think of the market will be like at the end of next year? Whew. You know what I love to do? It's time to get out the what? Crystal ball. All right. This is not based in any fact whatsoever. This is just what I think in my brain, in perspective of everything going on in the world today. There is no charts or anything. This is just how I feel about things. Okay. My crystal ball prediction of what the housing market is going to look in 2025. I've been noticing more and more. Oh, Eddie's got the music going. More and more that a lot of major corporations, big ones, have been doing a lot of layoffs. When you see big corporations doing a lot of layoffs, eventually that trickles down to they can't afford their mortgages, right? The second thing, I'm also noticing there's a lot more repossessions of cars. Again, another time in history when we saw a lot of repossessions in cars within 9 months to a year later, then we saw a lot more repossessions of homes, a lot more foreclosures. In 2025, I think we're going to have an adjustment. Is it going to be a housing crash? I don't think it's going to be a housing crash, but I definitely think there are a lot of areas across the United States that are going to see an adjustment that needs to happen. But that, again, is based in no fact, no charts, nothing. This is just what my gut is telling me. I think we'll know a lot more of what's going on after this summer. I'm interested to see what happens in the fall. I think that will add a lot more clarity in my thoughts and my predictions. So that's my third eye prediction. So, JK says there's a lot of YouTube channels that recently started up with people living out in a van and traveling across the country making videos. Yes. So I have a friend who's out of the UK, Urban Van Life. He has a van. He matter of fact, they're selling off everything. They had a house and a van, but now I think what he said, he's going to sell off everything and they're just going to exclusively live in a van. It's an option for a lot of people, but I want anybody that's thinking of this option to really go into all these other groups of other people that are currently doing it. Because what you envision in your head isn't necessarily, oh, that's my friend right there. Yeah, if you want to go check him out, he's a great dude. But if you want to really find out what it's really like, don't just look at Instagram posts because only people put the best of everything up there. Start getting into those groups and speaking to people that have been doing it for more than a year. Find out what their trials and tribulations have been since they've been on the road. Like the expense of having repairs done to your van or, your vehicle, tires, that kind of thing. The cost of gas, like how much money can you live on, like the least amount of money, like if you get in an emergency situation, what can you do about it? Does Starlink work everywhere in case you need to get a hold of somebody? Do you need a satellite phone? All these kinds of little things. I mean, it's nice and it's fun to decorate and get these vans up and going so that you can live in them year round. But once you start traveling around the United States, you're adding wear and tear on that vehicle. And that wear and tear can cost you lots of money. And the last thing I'd like to mention is if you're going to do this with somebody and you're doing this with a partner, make sure you really like that partner, because by the end of this adventure, you may not like them anymore. Like, invest in some online counseling throughout your trip, because my parents did the whole they had like one of those like fancy schmancy RVs, really nice one. And they had their little dogs and they traveled around the United States. I think they did it for almost 2 years, but they had the goal of doing it for 5 years, but they only made it for about 2 years. Enough was enough. And they went back to a regular house. I just don't think that kind of living is for everybody. It is for some people and they have a great time. But I think you should always do a proper investigation before you decide to like rip roar and go into it and then be totally miserable. I give kudos to anybody that can do it. I probably could have done it when I was younger. To do it today, I'd lose my poop. There's no way. No way. I almost said a potty word. I couldn't do van life myself year round. No. Peter has a question. With 40% of homes owned outright and almost all mortgage holders being under 4%, isn't it housing the most affordable it's ever been for 2/3 of people? Well, I mean, it's kind of like the haves and have-nots. So like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I can't sit back and say, well, I'm fine. I already got a house. I have an awesome interest rate. So too bad for you guys, too bad for the people that can't afford it. I mean, no, it's not the most affordable it's ever been, because there's a good portion of the United States that can't afford the housing prices today. And to sit there and go, well, I mean, I got a house. What do I care? I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is to build more. And a lot of people that own real estate, a lot of a generation that owns real estate, they own more than one house. They own several houses. And, like to have those opened up to other generations to be able to purchase would be really nice. I don't live in a, and maybe I'm wrong for this. I don't look at things as like, well, I had to suffer, and you should suffer too. No, I don't think it should be that way. Oh, look, Pronzo bags. Oh, let's show it again. Pronzo bags by Mary Lou Plonzo. Look at this. Glad you love your bag. Thanks for the demonstration. Yeah, I do. If you guys missed it at the beginning, this is my first swag that I ever got sent. I get absolutely no affiliate marketing, nothing for mentioning this. I just love the bag. And look. Woo. It has see, it looks like a regular purse, but it's a cooler. It's a total cooler. And I don't know if you were here earlier, but Mary, but it's actually cold inside the bag. Like, I know you're thinking, oh, of course it is, but this hasn't been cooled yet. There's the ice cube thing hasn't even been cooled yet. It's still in the bag. Wild, right? Oh, here it goes. Yeah. This is just still liquidy, but it's cold in here already. Cool stuff. I'm so excited. And it looks like this just looks like a regular purse, a nice looking purse at that. I don't know what it's made of. Thank you, Mary, for the gift. I'm really, really excited. Like I said, I never get swag, so it was cool to get this. Irm says, question in the chat: why even have house insurance? After the deductible or for a broken window or a water leak, it's cheaper to fix it yourself and file a claim than to increase your rates. Okay. So I don't know if you're aware, but mortgage companies require anybody that has a mortgage, you must have homeowners insurance. If you let your homeowners insurance policy lapse or you're late, your homeowners insurance company will tack on their own insurance company to your mortgage and add that to your payments. And let me tell you what, that mortgage company's insurance is literal dog poop. You'll have a super high deductible and they cover hardly anything. It's awful. It's like the worst. I've had that happen to me once because I pay my insurance separately and I didn't realize I was late. And so they tacked on this other insurance company and it was like, I don't know, like ABC insurance. And it was literally the worst insurance ever. I didn't need it. Of course, I went and got new homeowners insurance right away. It wasn't a big deal, but you don't want that to happen. If you have a mortgage, you cannot not have insurance. You can't do that. It says it in your loan service agreement. Like, look in your paperwork, all that light reading they gave you at the closing table. It specifically says you are required to protect the asset of the house with the homeowner's insurance. So, you don't have to carry homeowners insurance if you have it paid in full. There's no law that's requiring you to do that. But know that you're playing a game if you do that. You are playing a game that you may not win, especially you live in coastal areas. Just be very aware of that. Yep. Clark, the realtor out of Atlanta, says, what are your thoughts on these zero down payment programs for some lenders are pushing out? I always say with any program, doesn't matter if it's zero down or they're giving you $10,000 in closing costs, or even like any kind of program like this, always look at the fine print. One of the biggest U.S. lenders is offering zero down payment mortgages for first-time home buyer. Here's the catch. Just like anything, no one's giving you money for free. There's always a catch. It says, Eddie, you scroll down too quick. It says, prospective home buyers should be fully understand the terms of the silent second mortgage, taking one on, an expert says. Yeah, just read the fine print. Where is that $10,000 coming from? Why is it 0%? Find out what the terms are of that program before you ever sign up for it, or at least, go buy a house with that program. There's a lot of federal programs out there. You got your rural development loans, your sometimes called the USDA loan, same thing, rural development loan. Those are excellent. That's an excellent product that home buyers should be aware of. Another, you still have your FHA loans. A lot of times your state might have bond money that is available to you, especially if you're a school teacher, a firefighter, a police officer. There's all sorts of different programs out there that you could get down payment assistance or zero down. So look into those. Make sure you work with a local lender. If you're going to work with the large national chain brand to do your mortgage, you're not going to have the ability to know about these local programs in your area. That's why it's super important to work with a local real estate agent. Eddie wanted me to read this. It says, UWMC plus 4.46% will give eligible buyers a second lien loan up to $15,000 in the form of a down payment assistance for 3% of the purchase price. The loan will not accrue interest or require a monthly payment. So you have basically a second mortgage that you have to, that's where they're getting the money from. So it's not really zero. They're borrowing against the collateral of the house, right? I need to get Kyle Seagraves on here. Win the house you love. That's what I need to do. William Wilson says, Kristina, please mention the My Safe Florida, which is a state-funded $10,000 reimbursement for impacted windows. Wow, that's nice. My Safe Florida. Get readier for hurricanes with My Safe Florida home program. Starting July of 2024. Have you completed the grant prioritized survey information? It is important that you log into. All right, so if you're in Florida, go ahead and make yourself an account so you can get yourself some windows. All right. We recommend buy your home hurricane inspection program. Grant money has been made available for the following strength improvements. Huh. Well, interesting. I don't know much about it because I'm not in Florida. I do know that like every time I cracked a window in Florida, all I had to do was call up my insurance company and they would replace it. They don't have that here in Louisiana, which was a big giant bummer. You have to, every time a rock flies and hits your windshield, instantaneously you got to come out of pocket out of that. And I promise you this, you'll go forever with that crack in your window until you need an inspection sticker. So of course you have to replace the windshield, which you do because you want that new inspection sticker. And within a 3-month window, I guarantee another rock is going to fly up and hit your windshield and you will need it replaced again. So put some Miller Lite in it. That's my dad's favorite beer, Miller Lite. He likes Miller Lite and he likes Mick Ultra. He likes himself a Mick Ultra. SB says, why do you choose to pay your insurance separately opposed to rolled into your mortgage? So 1,000 years ago, I had a mortgage company, a national mortgage company that kept wanting to collect more money in escrow for the insurance. But when I called the insurance company up, they were saying we didn't request more money for escrow. We did not raise the insurance rates for them to require more money from their escrow. And then sure enough, at the end of the year, I would get a check. But I didn't want to keep paying extra to escrow and have my payment go up every, all the time because they offset it somehow. They were getting more money from me and then replacing it at the end of the year, right? They were giving me a check back. And I just thought that was crap. Like they're basically borrowing money from me for an imaginary increase in escrow and then giving me the money back going, oh, we were wrong. And I hated that. I didn't like that at all. And I'm like, I want to know how much is actually going to be. I want my house payment to always remain exactly the same amount. So I know exactly what I'm paying in my taxes and I can write them a check. And I know exactly what I'm paying for my homeowners insurance and I can write them a check. Instead of having those monthly payments be adjusted. I wanted the same amount for my house payment to the day I paid it off in 30 years. And that's the only reason why I did it separately. And you can do that if it depends on the program, mortgage program. I think if you have to put down like 25% or 20% to have it separated from the actual mortgage payment. But yeah, I just write that check out. Boop. And it feels good. When I write that, and this is going to sound crazy to you. When I write that property tax check out, I actually physically get in my car. I drive it up to the tax assessor's office. I slide it across the desk and I get a receipt. And to have that physical receipt that my property taxes are paid is a great feeling. Not only that, one time they had messed up and put the wrong property taxes towards the wrong property. And I had that physical receipt that proved the fact that I paid it. They got it wrong. And so there was no penalties towards me. So I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't use my ATM card either. I don't know if everybody uses their ATM cards. I never use my debit card ever. I'm just old, I think. I've hit the age where some things I'm not going to participate in debit cards and having my escrows rolled into my mortgage. Just not going to do it. MH08 says Chicago residents do not do property tax strike in the 1930s. Chicago residents did do a property tax strike in the 1930s. Can't really do that today because the bank collects the tax. Well, I mean, if they had it separated, right? If you were able to put 20% down and you would have it separate, then I guess you could do a tax strike. The other thing is that, if your property taxes go up by a lot in 1 year, or you're talking to your neighbors and they say, oh, well, you paid this much in property tax. And you're like, wait a minute. mine is way more than that. You can always, and this is only in the state of Louisiana, you're going to have to check with your states, but you can challenge your property tax increase with the tax assessor to find out why it went up, and you can negotiate that. So, just look into it. And another thing too, other states, if you're like a veteran, they'll have like a property tax deduction. In some states, if you're over the age of like 75, you have a property tax deduction. Like just look in to see if there's any kind of programs for you when it comes to property taxes. Always look into that. Oh, and if you're in the state of Louisiana, when you close on your house, make sure you go up to the courthouse and file your homestead exemption, because that will give you a $75,000 tax credit towards your house. So do that. The people that bought our old house never filed their homestead exemption, and they had to pay more because they never filed that. And it's like you only file it once here in Louisiana, just one time. You file it up at the courthouse and it's done, and you have it until you sell the house, and it's not automatically done for you. You have to do it yourself. It says in Florida, it's called the Hometown Heroes Program. A second mortgage is zero and payable after the first mortgage is paid off. Oh, okay. Gotcha. The Florida's Hometown Heroes Program makes homeownership affordable for eligible community workforce. This program provides a down payment and closing cost assistance for the first time income qualified home buyers, so they can purchase a primary residence in the community which they work and serve. Okay, so so it's very similar to what I was saying. If you were like a police officer, firefighter, nurse, whatever the eligibility was, they have programs so they're able to purchase a house. I get it. Yeah, it's great. I think it's awesome, especially with the cost of housing today, that in every community they should have I think they should offer like almost like 1% mortgages for firefighters, police officers, school teachers. They don't make much as far as income is concerned. Give them incentive to want to stay in that community and live in that community that they protect and educate. So the local banks should be offering, and this is my opinion, this is just my opinion, but the local banks should be offering low interest mortgages to those community members. Just my thoughts. It will never happen. I'm just hopeful. I am a home inspector. We're about to do inspections for NACA. Oh, good. So okay, so they're like, I have to ask you, John Doe, is the NACA inspection, is that very similar to the FHA inspections that are done on homes? In Florida, man, those FHA inspections they're tight. I remember Eddie and I, our first home, because we got an FHA loan, and that the inspector that came out there, he was so weird about like weird stuff, like a little piece of wood trim that needed to be replaced. It literally was a piece like this big, and it wasn't even, I mean, it was bad, but he made it sound like it's completely rotten, We pulled it out and we just stuck another piece in there so we could buy a house. It was just, I didn't know if it was as picky as it is, if that the NACA inspection was going to be as bad as an FHA one. So Desperado Dave says they fee me to use a debit card to pay property taxes. Oh my gosh. That's the thing, man. The fees that they charge at the bank for all sorts of stuff. Years ago, Bank of America used to charge for you to use the drive-through service. So I had my paycheck that I got from my employer that I brought in every Friday. But because I used the drive-through service, they were charging a fee for me to use the drive-through service. Like, how are you supposed to do this any other way? Well, they were making it a requirement to have your checks direct deposited, and so you didn't have to pay that fee. I'm like, this is just stupid. Like, I just tippy-toed myself right out of that bank and opened a bank account somewhere else and never used that national brand ever again. So, a debit card is a major risk. That's just being smart. Bubblelandia, Bubblelandia. I'm going to tell you that when I was in high school and my economics teacher told us that they were going to have, this is in 1991 or 1990, they said, oh, everybody's going to be walking around with all their bank information on a credit card, and all the stores are going to have access to your bank account as soon as you run it through the machine. I said, there is no way, in my brain, there's no way that people are going to actually allow merchants and stores to have access to their bank account, that they can pull out money at any time willy-nilly, right? I thought it would never, it was one of those things in my brain that will never last. No way the public is going to allow that to happen. And I thought this in high school, right? And then, fast forward, and here we are today. I still to this day, I'm like, nope. You have so much more protection with a credit card when you use it in a store, right? Than you do with a debit card. Nope. I don't use it. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever. Every once in a blue moon, I will dust that sucker off just to pull out a little cash, but I go straight to my bank's location and I will use the ATM card, my ATM card there from the ATM, and that's it. And then it goes right back into a locked cabinet, never to be seen this daylight again. So SB said, and I pay a credit card off monthly. Yeah, I pay on my credit card off monthly. I use an American Express Delta card so I can get those Delta Sky Miles because I travel all the time. Yeah, I'm with those Delta Sky Miles. My parents, for their mortgage, they put every payment they put on a credit card, everything, all their monthly expenses go on a credit card, and then they pay one bill at the end of the month, right? So their mortgage, everything comes out of this credit card, and then they just pay the whole thing off. So that way you can collect more points or rewards or whatever they're doing with that. But they like to have those rewards. I think my mom does the Discover because she gets the cash back. I think that's what she does, but she pays that sucker off every month. We're the people that the credit card companies don't really like because they don't really make a lot of money off of us. They're just hoping that we don't check our statements closely enough to know that they double charge us for a bunch of stuff. Yep. You can freeze your property tax when you're a certain age. Yeah, you can in the state of Louisiana. Not all states you can freeze your property tax. And there is some specifications with that. A special assessment, here it is. Special assessment level freeze applies to the homestead of persons who are 65 years of age or older, permanently disabled, or adjusted gross income is 100,000 or less. The level may change from year to year, so it is advisable to check with your assessor's office to determine whether you qualify. This special assessment will freeze the asset of the value of the homestead for as long as the applicant owns the resides in the home and the income does not exceed the maximum allowed. So you can't make any more than 100,000 a year. So if you are on if you got yourself a heck of a pension plan and you're making over 100,000 just on your pension, and that wouldn't help you. So is there a homestead exemption in Arizona? Eddie's going to pull that up. Oh, here it is. This is how you apply for homestead exemption in 2024 in Arizona. La 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 la. It protects up to 400,000 of equity in your home. To qualify, you must live in the home as your primary residence. Oh, he even has a YouTube video. Your house and land resides on your condominium or cooperative, your mobile home, the land which your mobile home sits on if you own the land. So it can't be in a rented community. The homestead exemption also applies to cash proceeds from the sale of the home. Eddie, can you scroll down a little bit? The proceeds remain exempt for 18 months from the sale of the property or until the proceeds are used to purchase a new homestead, whichever time is shorter. Arizona's homestead is exemption is automatic. You don't have to file anything. Declaration to claim homestead exemption in bankruptcy. However, if you have more than one property to which homestead exemption could really reasonably apply, a creditor might require you to designate to which property the exempt status applies to. Yep. So if you're a snowbird and have a second home, you may want to check this out. Homestead in each state is going to look completely different. So check with your, just Google it. Google your area and just see what homestead requirements are for your area. And if you need to actually file it. In the state of Louisiana, you actually physically need to go to the courthouse and file it. But in other states, it's not like that. Yep. Derek Gonzalez says, can you assume someone's low mortgage when you buy a property? Some mortgages you can assume, but just know this, that a lot of people that have like a low interest VA loan, right? And it's at like 2.7%, they may have bought that home several years prior, and they only owe, let's just say, $150,000. So you're only assuming the loan for $150,000, but the valuation of that home today is $400,000, meaning you're only assuming the loan for $150,000, and now you have to come out of pocket for the rest of that money to equal $400,000. That's not going to be in all cases. Just know that you're only assuming the loan for what they owe on that loan at that moment. You're not assuming the whole price of the house, what it costs today. You're only assuming the amount that they owe currently on their mortgage. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And a lot of listings now are saying this mortgage is assumable. This home has an assumable loan. If you look in the notes section, they'll say that this house has an assumable loan. Yep. V-Man says, I bought a property with 2 homes on it, but my statement comes to me with just one of the addresses. Does the other home's address need to be on the statement, or just the one address is enough? So this will depend on your state. Eddie and I have a property that only has one address on it, but there's actually 2 homes on the property with 2 separate addresses. I would look at the survey, look at your survey and see how many homes are on that specific property. And it will make a difference too with your insurance company. So are they only insuring, are they insuring both structures, or are they only insuring the one? I'd have to see the whole thing. I'm just like assuming what's going on there. Our insurance reads that it's only for the one main property, even though there's 2 addresses, but our insurance is very clear that it covers both structures on the property. And those 2 structures are actually connected. They're slightly connected to one another. And are your 2 structures slightly connected together? Or are they 2 separate? So, and then the other thing is, what does the plat map say? What does the actual survey and plat map say where those 2 structures are, and if they're on there or not? Because I guarantee that the tax assessor's office knows that there's 2 structures on there, and they're taxing you accordingly. I guarantee it. Yep. Kristina, people who pay off their monthly balance are called deadbeats by the credit card industry. They don't make money off of you. Yeah, I'm a deadbeat. Yeah, they make nothing off of me. They hate me. You know when they make money off of me? That one time that they don't send me a credit card statement. And time has passed me by, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't get a credit card statement. And then they make a little bit of money off of me, just a little bit, because I was late. Because they didn't send me a statement. I check that mail every freaking day. And I have one credit card company that about every 3 months doesn't send me a credit card statement. Ridiculous. It's my Target Visa. It says, why buy a home when the world population is going to start shrinking? Millennials and Gen Z will not have anyone to pass the bag on to. Well, everything's temporary, right? And the whole thing is that, that's what it looks like today in today's headlines. We're still short numerous homes. The amount of homes that are going up for sale in a lot of areas, the smallest homes, which would be usually used for first-time home buyers, are being bought up by corporate investors. So we're not building as many houses as we used to. We haven't. If you can just look up any chart on any statistical website, Atom, Statistica, any of them, the amount of homes being built since the last housing crash is in the toilet, right? So we have a limited supply of homes that are available. So you have to hoping that everything turns in a certain way, right? And then in the meantime, we have corporate investors that are coming in, buying up all the smallest houses in these areas. So it's just leaving our younger generations to rent and not giving them the opportunity to actually own their own home, which is terrible in my opinion, because we build a lot of wealth and a lot of people's retirements are tied up in real estate and the home that they live in. And it gives people flexibility. There's things that happen in people's lives that they're like, thank God they had their home equity in order to borrow against, so they didn't get into financial ruin. And when you take that away from younger generations, it makes them pretty bitter, right? So what you're proposing is that, like all these older generations have all this real estate and you're expecting them to like just dump them on the market and the average home buyer being able to afford it. And I don't see it that way, because the average home buyer, many of them can't afford a home that's nearly $500,000, right? A lot of like the median income in a lot of areas doesn't match the median price homes in the area. So, I mean, you're betting on in 10 years, there's going to be an influx of housing available on the market because you're thinking that older generations are just going to start. But I think you're looking at it wrong. I think you're looking at it completely wrong. I mean, my parents are silent generation and they're in their 80s. Older generations are living a lot longer than they ever did. And you're just counting on the fact that for them to expire in order for housing supply to loosen up. And they've been calling that the silver tsunami. And they've been predicting that for the last 10 years. And guess what? Nope, that isn't happening. They're just buying more real estate. Baby boomers own and buy more real estate than any other generation. Just saying. Just saying. REITs have created an artificially low supply of homes to buy. Yes. I actually did a video on that 2 weeks ago. REITs, I never even realized how insidious REITs were, right? Every single one of us that has mutual funds, 401ks, money market accounts, all these little things, these little REITs, there's just the little slice of owning a piece of real estate. We've all put a little bit of our own money into these investors' hands to buy up as many homes as they can. We're just trying to supplement our retirement, but in turn, it's taking away housing from younger generations just from something so simple as a REIT. You're right. You're right. Freaking REITs. I said that like 4 times in my video. Freaking REITs. They used to be the worst return on investment. They were not even like that great. Like Wall Street wasn't even paying attention to REITs. They actually kind of thought they were stupid. But then they found, of course, how Wall Street does. What's the best way we could squeeze money out of people? Oh, well, these REITs seem like a really good idea. Oh, this is fantastic. Fantastic. And then they found out a way to make it a cash cow. And now their REITs are in everything. Everything you touch has some kind of REIT attached to it as far as real estate is concerned. Everything. All those corporate investors that are buying up manufactured home parks where the people rent the land underneath that's a REIT. Those big ones, that's a REIT. And they love them because the return on investment for their shareholders is huge. It's the biggest sector of financial growth for the shareholders is through manufactured home parks. That's why they keep buying them up. There's no regulation on them. And that's why they buy them up. They raise the rates. they bankrupt them because it makes them more money. It makes them more money. I buy beets. Me too. That was something I didn't like until I got much older. Beets. I love oven roasted beets. When I was a kid, I said they tasted like dirt. And, I have to say, it's still a fair assessment, but I, for some reason, love that earthy dirt flavor now. Yep. So I want to say thank you to all of our moderators today that came in and made sure that the chat was good. I wish you guys a happy Memorial Day and enjoy your day with your family as much as possible. Time is short on this planet. So, enjoy the time that you have with your family as much as you can. I also want to say thanks to this company that sent me my first swag, my first PR. Like, I feel special. I finally feel like part of the cool kids. I got to do an unboxing. It's a Pranzo bags, PRANZO bags.com. I get nothing for mentioning them. I just wanted to say thank you for them to send it to me. It's a cooling bag. Thank you for sending that. That was amazing, Mary. I appreciate you. And I want to say, if you want to get a hold of me, I am back in the saddle again. Family is feeling better. So you can always go to my website, KristinaSmallhorn.com. Go ahead and click on one of the pink links right there and just fill out the form. Make sure you put in all your contact information so I can give you a call and let me know what you're looking for. And I can set you up with a real estate agent in your area. If you're looking for to listen to this as a podcast, I am published on all the podcast websites. All you have to go is type in real estate for everyone with Kristina Smallhorn, and all of these live streams, the audio stripped out and is put on the podcast site. So I look forward to listening. If you guys want to listen to me ramble my lips, talking real estate trash, go ahead and go over there. So, all right, everybody, stay cool. It is hot as Hades outside. I hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Be good. Stay out of trouble. Don't talk to strangers. Is it time to dance? I think it's time to dance.